Hello everyone, as promised, I am back with a video that will help you with preparing your home environment to encourage freedom of movement and choice and nurture independence in young children. Preparing the environment is in fact the most important task of a parent or a teacher or a caregiver in a Montessori system. The environment must be carefully organized for the child's spontaneous and free use to encourage independence. Again, this can be linked to the first point we talked about in this series, which is respect. Identify the child as another individual who lives in the house, and just like we arrange things for our comfort, take the child into consideration while setting up every area in the house from the bedroom to the kitchen. The child needs to have access to everything that is safe for him or her to explore. Think of ways you can get your child to independently manage to do his or her stuff. It could differ from house to house and family to family. Think of ways you can convert the existing spaces to support your child's growing need for independence. Think of what works the best for you, and it need not be very expensive. Get down to your child's level and try to see the surroundings through your child's eyes. Now we'll look at some tips that you can apply to each area of your house in making it child-friendly in order to meet the child's growing need for independence. Have a space in your house for your child to work at, dedicated entirely to him or her. It need not be an entire room. It could be a small corner in any part of the house. This will give the child a feeling of responsibility for keeping the space neat and tidy, and also a feeling of being a part of the house. Having child-sized furniture is the first step in making the space child-friendly. I've already done a video on how to set up a play space for your child the Montessori way, so I don't intend to repeat all that here. Please check out the link in the description box to watch that video. In short, try to keep your child's play space as minimal as possible and avoid sensory overload. Keep only a few toys out and practice toy rotation. Having a place for everything and everything in its place is one of the key steps in preparing the environment. This will make it easier for your child to know where to get a thing from and where to put it back when he or she is done, making cleanup time easier. Also have child-sized cleaning tools so that they can clean up their own mess. Keep a washcloth or a sponge handy in their playroom. For encouraging freedom of movement in babies, always baby-proof the house, as in cover electrical outlets, move things that could hurt them or they could possibly destroy out of their reach. Use gates to create yes spaces. This is in fact actually freeing the child rather than restricting them. You don't have to constantly stop them from exploring and moving around. Remove all kinds of harmful chemicals and poisonous plants from your child's reach. For young toddlers, use a small table and chair for meal times and place it next to the family dining area. You can use the same for snack times, activities, etc. Using a high chair will make the child dependent on you to get onto his or her seat and also to carry the food to the table. As the child grows older, you can have a booster seat or chair topper for him or her to join others for meals. We simply use a cushion for the same. In the bathroom, have a step stool or any arrangement that would help your child to independently carry out activities of self-care like washing hands, brushing teeth, etc. If the child cannot reach the tap, using a faucet extender could be something that you can think about. And you could also use a light switch extender if the child cannot reach up to the switch. Keep a tray within the child's reach for storing stuffs like toothbrush, paste, a small glass, a comb, etc. If the child can't see the wall mirror, you can use a small stand mirror to aid with brushing and combing hair. For very young kids, keep a potty chair in the bathroom where your child can access it without your help when he or she feels the need. You can have a child-sized booster toilet seat when the child grows older. These are available in different varieties. Break down every process into steps and think of how the child can independently carry out each action without your help. If the child feels the urge to use the toilet, he or she has to be independently able to switch on the light, use a stool to get onto the toilet seat, sit without support, clean themselves up, close the toilet cover, use the flush, and then wash the hands. Trust me, all this is possible if you just prepare the environment for them. In the kitchen, keep a step stool or a step ladder for the child to reach things at a height and to help with meal preparation. A learning tower in the kitchen is a great addition, but you can also do with a high chair or any other equipment that your child can work on without having the fear of falling down in the kitchen. When Arman was younger and couldn't stand steadily on the stool, we would just sit on the floor and work with the mixing and stuff. He has always loved being in the kitchen. Educate your child about the dangers of stove, kettle, and other equipments in the kitchen in a positive manner. If you don't tell them, they'll never know. And remember, the more you use the word no, the more they'll be tempted to try a thing, which is why reminding positively is important. Keep snacks within the child's reach, or you can even set up a snack station if possible for them with all the essentials. My son mostly has fruits for snacks, so I started keeping a box in the fridge where I keep all the fruits for the day washed so that he can pick whatever he wants and prepare them in his own way. He cuts them, puts them in a bowl, and carries it to his table. Keep drinking water where your child can access it. You could just keep a small pitcher of water and a glass on the table. Have a few recipes that your child can prepare independently with very little support from you. You can keep scaffolding their efforts according to their age and abilities, like you could portion out the ingredients and let the child do the rest of the work. Share the work during meal preparation. Every time I make dough, my son gets to knead a portion of it. When I scrub the dishes, he washes them. He also helps with cutting veggies, making batters, washing beans, and many other activities. When I roll the rotis, he helps with cooking them. But yes, he does insist on rolling because that's his favorite part. He pretty much makes his own chapatis now, from making the dough to rolling them and cooking them. And the best part is, he's more keen to eat them when he cooks. You can have a separate cupboard for your children's clothes that is of their height, or you can keep their clothes in low drawers or shelves where they can easily access them from. If you are used to hanging your child's clothes on a rod in the cupboard, you can bring it down to your child's level. If you remember, we had already discussed the importance of offering choices and encouraging decision making from a young age in an earlier video. Now, sleep is a very controversial topic and a very personal choice where Montessorians themselves split on opinions. So I don't want to get into more details, but one thing I can tell you is, if you're not co-sleeping, go for a floor bed instead of a crib for your child. A crib restricts your child's movement and makes the child dependent on the adult to get onto and out from it. Whereas a floor bed makes it easy for a child to be up on his own and explore the space where he wakes up without having to cry and wait for somebody to pick him up. I hope you all found today's video helpful. If you did, please don't forget to click the like button and share it with your friends and family. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.